Max, what do you got for us today?
Yeah, I'm going to take a break from the normal fight previews and recaps, and I wanted to talk about some news that came across my feed this week in the combat world. George St-Pierre, in an interview, recently said that, or admitted that he had a potential boxing match with Oscar De La Hoya, a former like generational talent at one time pound for pound best boxer in the world, with Triller, the new boxing promotion taking the world by storm one way or another, and that fight fell through because Dana White nixed it. This is as a backdrop to this. At a recent press conference, Dana White was calling like the Triller people fucking idiots, saying like, "Don't talk to me about them. I don't want to hear about them. Screw them," basically. And the Triller CEO has been kind of nonstop social media, like tweeting, Instagram posting at Dana. It's not surprising at all if you followed the UFC's business making decisions over the years. The only exception to this would be the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight, which raised the stardom level of Conor McGregor. The UFC got a massive cut of even like you saw Dana White at the McGregor Mayweather press conferences. So just from a PR perspective, they were getting their face and their image there. There's UFC on the backdrops, and this would not have been that kind of thing at all. A good chunk of the money would have gone to charity. It would have signaled UFC or George St. Pierre's break from the UFC and kind of cemented that he wasn't returning. And really, other than, oh, this former UFC champion, beyond that, it wouldn't have done much for them. And they had not a lot to gain by this. And that was enough for them to nix it. They're able to nix it, of course, because their contracts are incredibly stifling, just keeping the athletes they have from ever competing. And they have this business. It's hopefully the antitrust lawsuit that is currently ongoing will allow us to see more into behind the world of the contracts, because we only really know what the fighters say. The promotion's very tight-lipped about it. This certainly resembles monopolistic behavior. I mean, St-Pierre hasn't fought since 2017, and before that, I think it was 2012. So he's basically fought once in the last 9 years for this company, and they're still able to prohibit him from getting into a boxing match uh, because they have him under contract. And you might think, oh, well, fighters just have to be careful of their timing. They just have to like fight out their contract. But the UFC will wall install you if they want to keep you locked up. They just won't let you fight if they think your stock is on the rise without signing a contract with additional extensions. Like I said, this is all behind the scenes, non-public, but Jorge Masvidal was very public about fighter treatment in the past year and a half or so. The thing I remember with the UFC 251 situation where he got the fight on 6 days' notice, there was a quote from him that was niggling the back of my mind. I looked it up and found it when Ariel Helwani asked him. I think he said it multiple times, but the one I found was an interview with Ariel Helwani where Ariel asked, "So, did you sign a one fight like deal for this to make it happen, or an extension?" And Masvidal said verbatim, "You want to get paid, you got to sign a 10 fight contract every fucking time." So there's a stat I remember seeing of like basically the higher ranked a fighter is going all the way to champion, the more fights on average they have on their contract. So something like a fighter outside the top 15 has on average like 3 fights on their contract. A fighter in the top 15 is something like 5 fights on average on their contract, whereas a champion has an average of 6 fights left on their contract. So it's just shitty. It's not surprising. I just wanted to highlight that and talk about it a little. Uh, yeah, it's a shame. That would have been really interesting and really fun and awesome for GSP, but it's not going to happen. Hopefully, this antitrust lawsuit succeeds and we will see some cracking in the walls that is the UFC monopolistic company. That's going to wrap up this Combat Corner.